Oh, man. I just got through eating my first experience, and I've seen this, and I've went to a hibachi before, but I've never had Korean barbecue.
Ain't that thing your mom keeps under her bed?
No, that's a hitachi.
No, that's a drill.
Well, they make both. They also make front end loaders.
You're talking about a wand of
A
the
personal
sorts, aren't
massager.
you?
Yeah.
No. My
No, I
mom.
was talking about a drill
No, my mom would never.
or an excavator.
Yeah, my mom keeps an excavator under her bed.
Hey, whatever.
That
whatever
explains-
you need.
Hey, I'm not here to judge,
That
okay?
explains-
I'm not going to yuck a yum.
I thought forever my dad and my mom just snore in competition with each other, but it's just her in the middle of the night, I guess,
It's
turning
her
on,
and her hibachi.
just starting the excavator. I ate this. Yeah, you did it to yourself. It's not bothering me that much. So I ate this Korean barbecue, and it was delicious. I was so happy because we had pork belly, both spicy marinated pork belly and just standard pork belly.
Did it have that nice crispy on the outside?
Yeah, man. And you
delicious.
you put a hot plate right in the middle of the table, and you have all these bits of meat and all these sides and stuff that go with it, and then you just put the sides on your plate, and you know your chopsticks and stuff. You have a little bowl of rice. You've got all your meats and stuff just grilling in front of you. We had what was it? We had ribeye. We had what's the big one? You usually have to buy it by like 15 pounds. Brisket.
Brisket.
Oh,
Yeah.
brisket.
We had brisket that was marinated, and then we just cooked up thin strips of marinated brisket. Man, it was delicious. And then I had my first experience with a Korean liquor that's not really liquor. It's more of a wine, like a rice wine kind of thing. It's called shoju. And I had like 10 shots of shoju. And it's not like, or soju. Soju is what it is, not shoju, soju. I didn't get really drunk off of it or anything. I felt like, a little warm, and I was kind of giggly for a little bit. I was like, it's not that strong. It's just like 12%, and then some of this is 16%. I was like, okay, that's fine. I got outside, we were digesting the food a little bit, and I start feeling kind of hiccupy. I'm like, huh? I'm like, this is weird. Like, I'm not even drunk, but I got the drunk hiccups. What's happening here? Then I understood what was happening. My body was actually starting an engine inside of it, and I was feeling the engine having a little bit of trouble firing, because as soon as the engine fired up inside of my body, I looked at Trudy, and I said, I'll be right back. And at her friend's house...
That's code for I'm about to blow it the hell up.
At her friend's house, to where this is the first time we're going over there and having a Korean barbecue-style eating experience. The first time that I'm there, I have to go to their bathroom, and I can't make it a sneaky thing to where I'm just going to sneak off to the bathroom. We're all outside. I got to go in the house. So I look at them and I say, hey, where's your bathroom? They're like, oh, first door on the left in the hallway. I said, okay, cool. I go to that bathroom. Sons and daughters of the world, I will tell you, I've never had diarrhea harder in my life than what I guess that soju did to me. I'm still currently in a state of stasis with my bowels as we speak. Just because if I have to get up and leave in the middle of the episode, I will be back. But it'll be an emergency, and if it sounds like somebody's drowning a cat, but you can hear it like the way that you can hear things through like a wall of an apartment, that's just because my bathroom's located on the opposite side of the grape sack wall, and if you just so happen to be hearing sounds like nobody is harming a feline, I'm just having a hard time.
Your booty hole's just being hurt.
Well, see, you knew rice milk did that.
Why not rice wine?
Yeah.
Right.
Any rice liquid was going to do that to you.
Hey, just one quick thing before we click into the intro music. It was like mustard.
Oh, no.
I'm Austin Shazam Pfeiffer.
I'm Otto. I'm going to commit ecological terrorism to my neighbors, Cogdale.
And I'm Tiny, the sissy baka.
And we are Nerd It Through the Grapevine, the podcast where three best friends gather weekly to talk about our favorite parts of past, present, and future nerd culture. We're going to gather today and we're going to talk a little bit about, we're going to do some catch-up. And I'm not talking about the red liquid tomato kind. We're going to play some catch-up. We're going to talk a little bit because we don't get to hang out as much as we all used to get to hang out and talk about stuff. You know, adulting is weird and hard.
And terrible.
And I don't recommend it to anybody. What I do recommend is just, from the age of 18, don't enlist in the military. Don't do that. Just start buying lottery tickets every week. Play them scratchers until finally they can scratch you back. And, that you can call that the retirement plan. That's a much more efficient way than anything we've got going on right now, I'd say. Start when you're 18, though. Start young enough.
This has not been this is not economical advice by the grapes, but you know what? Hey, you do you.
Oh, I'm not like what's his damn name that tells everybody you know the best way to get out of credit card debt? Don't buy shit you can't afford.
Oh, Dave Ramsey.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think my favorite I saw on one of the YouTube ads, and he's like, "This is my Lamborghini, but it's not my most prized possession. I got these books."
Oh, Ty Lopez.
Oh, was that what his name is?
I'm here in my garage.
Yeah.
With my Ferrari, but they're not this. This these 4 bookshelves that I read that I had to install into my house. Oh, God. No one can get money from you like a scammer.
That's true. But, we've got some catching up to do. And, boys, I'm pretty dumb and pretty boring because I don't do a lot of things. I could tell you anything you wanted to know about my new disc golf Frisbees that I got.
Ooh.
I've got some new disc golf Frisbees.
Oh, yeah?
I've got one called the Saint.
Ooh, how is it?
And the Saint is a very easy flying disc in case anybody wants to get into disc golf and throw something that can go pretty far with minimum effort. I have a little bit of a decently powerful throw. I mean, I can cap out around 410, 420, give me that big chug in there, baby.
Is that what you sounded like earlier?
Oh, that's in reverse. So if he takes that clip of him chugging Mountain Dew and puts it in reverse, that's exactly what it sounded like.
Heck yeah.
Editor Tiny, maybe you should do that.
I'm gonna let him try.
Maybe I can figure it out.
Maybe he can figure it out. With me being able to have a little bit of a stronger, faster throw, having a Speed 9 disc like this one really is not necessary for a long drive. But what it is necessary for is whenever I want to be real lazy about the way that I throw stuff, and I just want to be easy. And it's a real easy thrower for me, so it's going to be something that's going to be a little bit like a more reliable, straight finishing disc than what anything else would be probably for you as a beginner. But that's my newest disc golf disc. But I'm not going to talk too much about disc golf because that could happen for forever, and we can lose every listener we have.
And at this point, it's kind of like beating off your dad's horse.
Yeah.
We've talked about it so much.
And we've talked about Disc Golf Valley because I've been spending a lot of time playing Disc Golf Valley because my wife saw me playing it on my phone one day. She's like, "Is this actually fun?" And I was like, "Well, honey, you now like playing disc golf. You might ought to try it virtually on your phone." She hasn't looked up in 4 days.
I really don't need to get it because Shazam also got me into disc golf, and now I have an entire bag of disc golf discs, and now I've gotten my wife into disc golf. And we are.
Don't they piss you off so bad?
She's so good.
Don't they piss you off
for
so
how
bad?
little she's been playing? It took me like 3 months to get down throwing flat and throwing where I wanted it to throw. And she's just like third throw, throwing it perfectly flat. And I'm like, I love you so much, but I am mad that you are good.
Like when my wife is trying to make a long drive, she'll get a little fumbly with her drive still. She's not got all the mechanics down. But on a standstill Frisbee throw out in the field, like say she's having to do an upshot, she can just flat throw right under the basket. And I just look at her like, that's a disc golf throw, honey.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, that's what we've been doing a lot of. We've been playing a lot of Disc Golf Valley. And if you want to play disc golf without getting a sweat, sit in front of an air conditioner and play Disc Golf Valley.
Because it's that time of the year.
It is that time of the year. And we do live in the South. And I think all of our listeners are located in the South. I mean, unless you count the ones that listen over in the foreign countries that are probably just somebody's IP address being hidden.
No, we would never do something like that.
No, not for Nerd It to the Grapevine podcast.
No.
That would cause us some discord.
It would, and there's a link down there in that description. We're on there live, uncut, uncensored, and revocably circumcised, and now follow us on Mastodon.
We're on Mastodon? What's Mastodon?
No, but we could be.
What is Mastodon?
It's like a Twitter alternative.
I hate it. I'm on. We're also on. What's it called? It's the Instagram one.
Threads.
Oh my God, that place is a barren wasteland unless you got titties.
Yeah, we're on Facebook and Instagram at Nerd Grapevine. I haven't gotten into the X yet because no one uses that, and I refuse to
Then do
touch
Mastodon.
Threads.
Or True Social. Whatever that is.
I've been doing some threads posting with Nerd It to the Grapevine, and we've had a couple of interactions on there, and it's been pretty cool. I'll give you $1 if you guess who it is. Just out of anybody that can comment on a podcast post, guess who commented on my podcast post?
Another podcast.
I owe you $1. It's just another. It just seems like for podcasts, it's just another echo chamber.
Well, it's like the podcast promotion channels. Because I've tried to interact with a couple of those, but it's like
I know I see the messages.
People that are on podcasts don't usually listen to other people's podcasts when they're trying to promote, and people that just listen to podcasts are not on promotion channels, and it doesn't work out.
It doesn't make any sense. Podcast promotion channels make no sense whatsoever. They don't exist for any other reason besides a sounding room for everybody to bitch about why they can't get more followers. You know the fun thing about I think this podcast is, I don't care how many followers we've got. I have a good time hanging out with you guys and talking into microphones, and occasionally somebody will talk to me in public about something that's happened on the podcast, and I'm like, oh yeah, I forget people listen to this that aren't my wife's best friend.
Dude, I've had strangers approach me in public and go, hey, because on the back of my car has a big decal with the name of our podcast, and they go, hey, is that your podcast? I'm like, yeah. And then they're like, I've listened to you then. They're like, you're tiny. And I'm like, that's so weird.
Yeah.
It's the weirdest thing. Don't get me wrong. I enjoy it. It's really cool that a stranger approached me and knew me by voice. Yeah. But it was also weird. So if I was awkward to you, I'm sorry. I'm just a guy.
That's how I never met Seven in real life, but literally I was at the dog groomers getting my dog's nails trimmed, and I was like facing away and just hear, hey, are you Otto from Nerd It Through the Grapevine? I'm like, yeah. He's like, oh, I'm Seven. I'm like, hello. This is awkward because I don't know how to interact with strangers.
It was pretty great.
Yeah, because we're literally just buddies, and we like to talk to people about these things. And the fun part about a podcast is if you have stuff you like to talk about, and you have people you like to talk about stuff with, it doesn't really matter what you're talking about because they're all on that same wavelength with you. They all like that same kind of stuff. They're in for the conversation, and it's just like they're a fly on the wall, and that's pretty fun. There's a lot of times you wish you could be a fly on the wall with something. Okay, so I'm going to get into some television shows.
What have you
Hold
been
on. You was talking about somebody else's turn now.
Okay,
you had a turn first. I love you, but
okay. What you got going on?
Well, okay. I guess we can go to me.
Sitting in the back of the classroom with his hand firmly clasping his elbow.
Well,
so what you been nerding on?
Well, currently I'm reading the Red Rising series by Pierce Brown.
Ooh, I've heard that's really good.
It is. The first one feels very Hunger Gamesy, but it deviates from that very quickly. But it helps set the tone for the rest of the series. And I'm currently a little over halfway through book 3 of the first trilogy, the book's Morningstar, and I got very upset because they have now killed 3 of my favorite characters. Just like 3 characters I enjoy, they die. And then I had to message Jessica because it's her fault that I'm going through these. And I said, I can't believe they killed this character. I'm like, I'm very upset. I may not even finish. I mean, I'm going to finish. But she was like, I know. And I was so infuriating. And it was a pointless death, too.
You sure that Martin hasn't been like ghostwriting on this book or something instead of working
It
on
kind
what
of
wins a
feels
winner?
like that.
Right. So, like, what time period is it? Like, what kind of, like, setting is it?
Okay, it's a sci-fi, so it's very futuristic because the main point of the action that I've gotten into, in the first half of the series takes place on Mars.
Ooh.
The guy's born on Mars. He's what's known as a hell diver. So they live under the ground because they're told that they have to mine helium-3 in order to terraform the planet to make the surface livable. And everything is separated into different classes that are denoted by color. Like he's a red.
Okay.
And so he's like bottom of the barrel. And as a hell diver, he's the one that's actually down in the trenches manning a drill. And it's like the most dangerous thing ever. Like usually people only last a few years doing this job. And he's already lasted like longer than most. And basically he joins up with a rebellion. It's called Red Rising because red is rising. You know what I mean?
Right.
I can't really tell a whole lot more because spoilies.
Right.
It's good enough that it shouldn't be spoiled.
It kind of reminds me, there's this PS2 game called Red Faction that was basically, you could go, like, it was this corporation that basically owned the rights to mine on Mars, and you could buy, like, sign up for, like, X amount of years contract, go mine on Mars, and then if you basically survive, you get, like, passage to live there. And it's kind of the same thing where it's about a guy that went there, he's mining, and then like a rebellion happens, and it's him taking down the corporation. It's a very good game. If it was one of the first games with this thing called geodestruction, where basically everything in the map was destructible. Like there's parts where you can literally skip entire parts of the level by blowing a hole in the wall and walking through. And I love it. It was one of my favorite games. It has aged the way most PS2 games have aged, where like the
very poorly.
Like it's still a good game, but the controls are kind of janky. The aiming's stiff. It has some of the time graphics and like gameplay mechanics where it's like you can get stuck on parts and just have to like go back 2 levels to kind of like redo stuff. But it's fun.
At the time that we were playing games on a PlayStation 2, we had a machine that whenever it was running at the capacity that it needed to be running at to be playing some of these games, it would sound like a jet engine running underneath your television. It would sit there and it would just,
Yeah.
I mean, it would just be it just going. And the graphics and the processing speed and everything you had inside of this jet engine machine underneath your television is now like, I don't know, tenfold in the thing that you carry around in your pocket every day, if not more than that. And the graphics are better. And now you can get the games that were on that and play them on one of these.
Yep. Sony has yet to produce a console that doesn't turn into a jet engine after 2 years of use.
Oh, man, Marcus has a PS4.
Oh, I have 2 of them.
Marcus has a PS4. Boys, you don't know the sound of a jet engine unless you heard Marcus's PS4 playing Elden Ring.
Oh my god!
My god! It sounded like it was like those old Fords that are the big dually trucks that have like the quad doors, and they're just they're just humongous.
The big diesel boys.
Yeah, the big diesel boys. It sounds like one of those just.
That's real bad.
When I got my PlayStation 4, I was like, a couple years after having it, I was like, I wonder if I can like tilt this onto its side so I have more room on my dresser. And I didn't buy the little stand that kept it off. And like I have really nice noise canceling headphones. I remember one time I took my headphones off and I realized I was suffocating my PlayStation because the intake port was on the bottom next to the dresser.
Oh.
And I think it vacuum sealed to the dresser, and I like flipped it over and it was like burning hot. But I got the stand now and it works better.
I'd imagine so.
Yeah. No, I love my PlayStation 4s. They're great consoles. They're tough as all get out, but they will turn into a jet engine if you don't take them apart and clean them.
Yeah, Marcus's sounds a lot like a jet engine. It's very funny when he was playing Elden Ring. I don't know if he gets much time to play the video games much anymore because he has a child that walks.
Oh no!
And the child gets around and goes places now. I went and saw the little boy the other day. He was a hoot.
Heck yeah!
Nice.
Marcus just flipping him like a pancake on the couch while Kelsey's outside. Hopefully Kelsey doesn't listen to this because that was supposed to be a secret.
Right.
But she knew that Max was going to have was having rough playtime in there because he was screaming his little baby lungs out, just giggling, just every time Marcus would do like, all right, the pancake flip.
Hey, they say that's good for kids. It helps their equilibrium.
Hey.
But I've been nerding on a new hobby I picked up. It's called Gunpla. For those, I have. During one of our mic tests, I basically word vomited everything I knew about it to the grapes, so now I get to do it on recording and word vomit everyone else.
Well,
about
conveniently, I have no idea what it is.
So Gunpla,
He did sit here and ramble about it for about 45 minutes one day straight.
He
I'm
did.
serious. I had to tell him to stop because he had more information to spew, and he hadn't stopped.
we
It
were
just
trying
become a roar.
we were trying to set up the live stream, and we were using me as my they were tapping into my ADHD and autism to just like word vomit things. So we had a stream of like media going, and I just kept going. But for those not in the know, Gunpla is Japanese plastic model kits. They started on the Mobile Suit Gundam series. They would take the Mobile Suit Gundam from the anime and put it up into a bunch of little bits, hand those bits to you in plastic things called sprues, and you get to cut them out and click them together. And they're super cool, super posable. It's like a little action figure you can build. And there's different grades of them.
So, question.
Yes.
So, is Gundam also considered Gunpla?
Yes, Gundam is the...
I guess the question is it more how it goes together or more the content?
It's more how it goes together because Gunpla is plastic Gundam is kind of how it started, and it just got shortened to Gunpla because it's all plastic model kits.
And it can only be Gundam models that are Gunpla?
No, actually, there's whole different ones. If you were a fan of the anime Zoids growing up, those actually were Gunpla kits. I think Gunpla is like a blanket term for the style of kit that you get.
But it's going to be like you're building a robot.
Yeah, you're building a robot. There's actually some that are like Transformers. I've seen Mandalorian. I've seen like not comic book, but like more like anime people-y. There's some that are just like stuff. I've seen a Gunpla kit for like a motorcycle. Basically, you get a little box, and it has all the sprues in it, a little instruction booklet. You clip them out. They're all numbered, and you click them together. And it's a super great hobby because, like, I'm really new to it. I've only built 2 kits, and I'm very basic. Like, I just build it as it is. But some people will actually get kits and customize them. Like, I've seen someone took the RX-78 too, which is like, if you know what the word Gundam is, the robot that you see in front of you with the energy sword and shield, that's the RX-78
model. Like that's the original Mobile Suit Gundam model.
Yes, that is the original Mobile Suit Gundam used by the Earth Federation. But I saw one guy where he did a battle damaged one where he took paint and like painted it up really cool. He used a hot knife to like cut battle scars into the suit, paint it up to make it look like it's been through like war. And I've seen people make dioramas out of them, and it's like this fun thing where you can build the little thing and then
He
you
made
have
a
like
diorama earlier.
Yeah, I had diorama like 4 times earlier, actually.
But there's different grades of them too. There's entry grade, which is very basic. Like you're not really assembling a whole lot. It's a lot more of just like you give this to like a 7, 8-year-old that's interested
Like
in
you
it.
snap on some arms and some legs
Yeah.
and a head kind of deal.
Here, let me pull up my kit. So there's entry grade. There's high grade, which is it's a 1 to 144 scale of it, and it doesn't have as many pieces. It doesn't have the same posability, but it's a lot simpler. It's like that next like entry grade. Most people say you should go into high grades as like your basic starters. If you're competent and like more mature, you can do those. Super simple. Like I said, there's a lot more kits for those just because they don't have to make an endoskeleton for them. Like they can just kind of make the pieces and it clicks together. There is real grade, which is the same size as high grade, but it has more posability, more detail. It actually has a Gundam frame that you build and then click the armor onto, which is really cool. There's master grade, which is a little bit taller. I don't know the scale off the top of my head, but it is even more detailed than real grade. This is more into like you're getting into you're really like done a lot of Gundam. You're really into it. You're willing to spend days putting this thing together and sticking little stickers on the plastic that doesn't want to stick to the stickers, but it'll stick to the tweezers just fine. Ask me how I know. I was trying to put the little.
Well, have you tried rubbing them down with alcohol first?
No, I was
That might
just
be your problem.
maybe I don't know. I was trying to stick some little gold stickers on the inside of the vents, and I was getting very mad, and they were half stuck on there, and some of them didn't get stuck on there because I was going to break the goddamn kit. But and then at the tippy top, the most like this is like some people's like magnum opus ones is the perfect grades. These are bigger. I think they're usually in the like 12-inch tall or maybe like 16-inch tall ones. And they have super big detail. A lot of them times, like the cockpits will open up. You can move individual fingers. Like they are just a lot more technically there. And usually they range into the like $150 to $200 range. Whereas like your high grades and your high grades are in your like $15, like $12 to $17 range, and your real grades are in your like $30 range.
And I've seen these things that you're talking about, and it's been something that's been happening in my Instagram reels because I am a man who enjoys anime, and I will like anime stuff, and I'll share some anime stuff and this and that. And they're like, "Oh, you like anime? Well, here's stuff based on anime." And here gets the gunplay. The gunpla stuff they show me are always like those really high end models that people make, and then they'll set them inside of like terrariums, and they'll put like vegetation and stuff around them, and they'll make them look like this Gundam is decrepit and old and battle worn and destroyed basically. And they've taken this $150 kit and they've put it in, like, they've destroyed it. They put it in different pieces. They've made it battle damaged. They've done all that extra work to make it look.
It's not destroyed. It's enhanced.
Well, I mean, they've made it look destroyed in the world of what it was like it was destroyed in that world,
Right.
And by making it destroyed looking, they make it so much cooler to me because they've put it in a scene. They've made their own scene that's like encapsulated in this permanent environment. And I've seen some of them too, like to make it look like there's like one of them's like stuck in a hole or something that's like reaching up towards the top of the crevice, like trying to reach out of the hole. Like just
I've
cool
seen
stuff.
people like kit bash them and things.
Yeah.
That's when it gets cool when you start getting the customization stuff, I think.
Yeah, because that was Gundam in the first place. Like all the different iterations of Gundam that you would watch would just as be seeing like on the anime. The reason that I would watch would not be for the show. Unfortunately, the show was just an afterthought. What I was watching for was what the big robot was going to do.
Right.
And you would be watching just to see the next iteration of the big robot. Because there was one I was trying to remember what it was. God, I can't remember what it was. It's like some kind of special unit that they had. I can't remember what it's called. If you can do a deep dive of your brain of the different Gundams.
Is it Gundam Wing?
No, it's the
Mobile suit?
something.
Iron-Blooded Orphans?
No, it's an older one. It's like from the 90s.
Stationary suit.
There's Gundam X, Gundam Wing, Gundam Unicorn.
Because it was the one where they had. Well, anyway, there was this big Gundam that had like this green beam sword, and it was a chunky Gundam. And I remember that thing got my attention because it was like a break away from any of the other Gundams you had seen. And Gundam Wing doesn't count because Gundam Wing took it more to the anime aspect and made the Gundams a little bit more like anime. You know, like this isn't just giant robot mechanic. Now this thing has like magic.
Yeah.
You know, like Death Scythe and all those other ones like that with their creepy looks. Like this one looks like the Grim Reaper. And then you got the Endless Waltz, which evolves them into their further forms to where now the actual Gundam Wing has got like humongous angel wings and shit.
Right. And the fun thing I find about Gundam, because like my favorite thing to do is when I get a new kit is I'll watch the anime that the kit is in, and whenever you watch Gundam, everyone's like, oh, it's about giant robots fighting. It's like, no, it is a political thriller about the horrors of war and child soldiers just disguised with big robots fighting together. And it's good. I recommend Gundam. Iron-Blooded Orphans is one of the newer ones that came out in 2015, and it's super, super good to get into. The first season is on Crunchyroll, fully dubbed, and it's quickly became one of my favorite ones. And I just really been loving it. I already have like my next 3 Gundam kits picked out, and I'm actually going back and watching the original Mobile Suit Gundam that came out in '76, I think, and ran to 80, or maybe it was 77 to 80, and it's kind of cool watching early anime like that, because I mean, this is a lot of like, I think it's one of the oldest animes I've been watching, and it's really different, but there's still some of that anime like root that's still there today.
I think that my favorite Gundam that I saw actually was the mobile fighter Gundam. I think it was that G Gundam.
I think so.
But that was the one that was my favorite, just because they had the people that would get into like the body condoms and then be able to act like operate the Gundams instead of having to use like driving a car kind of levers and pulleys and wheels and all this other stuff. They were literally like the machines would mimic their movements and stuff.
Right. And I just remember like Gundam is under, if you want to watch stuff that's like Gundam but not Gundam, it's a mecha anime. It's one of my favorites. And there's a lot of like, if there's a mecha anime, usually there is a Gunpla kit made off of it. Some of my favorite mechas are Full Metal Panic is really good. It's a little bit more of a romancy one. There's Gargantia of the Carnivorous Planet, fantastic one. Gurren Lagann, fantastic. It will make you cry.
I've seen that that's been on my list for quite a while.
So good. I highly recommend it.
I can't put more things on my anime list though, because they keep coming out with more isekais, and I can't watch other animes while there's more of my crack cocaine being provided to me in television show form. What are you going to be reborn as now?
The guy that did Gurren Lagann is the same guy that did Neon Genesis Evangelion. And if you ever want to be confused and a little bit weirded out and a little bit intrigued of an anime, just watch Neon Genesis Evangelion. Like, it is such a, I don't even know how to describe it. It's a mecha anime, but it's also like a religious allegory, and there's like some trauma exploration through there. But it's the same guy that did Gurren Lagann later, and he did him kind of sister pieces where when you look at Evangelion, the way the main character took it is opposite of the way that Gurren Lagann took it, and it's like an exploration of 2 different ways you can take your trauma, and they're great pieces to watch next to each other once you know how they're like the same.
I might end up watching that then, because
I highly recommend it.
Because it's been on the list, but as I said, my other world, revived or gone to another world animes are like my crack cocaine, and there's always another one these days. Also, I'm not at a short here recently for one of my favorite things to watch on television.
I was trying to scroll through my phone while y'all were animating forever.
Oh yeah, because you don't have your phone's recording. I've been watching a lot of historical dramas, and when you get of a certain age, I think that you start appreciating things that take place in historical settings. Like some guys my age just get really, really into World War II, But I've
also known as the Great War.
No, that was World War One.
Well, speaking
same difference.
Speaking of the Great, that is the name of the show that I have watched the entirety of with my wife. I do recommend it. It is called The Great, an occasionally true story. So it's based on Catherine the Great of Russia. She was Empress of Russia, and it's about like Emperor Peter III and all of this other stuff, and it's just a historical drama comedy. Yes, a lot of that happens in there.
There was like 4 of them, and I was like, they got to get one.
Yeah, that would sound a little painful.
It was a little bile-y.
Elle Fanning is the main girl in it. You would probably know her if you saw her. She's Dakota Fanning's sister. But that's her right there.
Not a clue.
Oh, dang. She was in the Maleficent movies. She was a little beastie.
Maleficent.
Maleficent. But the show is very entertaining. It introduced huzzah into my vocabulary a little bit more so.
I mean, it's a fun word.
Well, in this show, it was like an over-dramatization of how Russia was back in those days, and it has like bears just as pets, and she's like, "Have you seen my bears?" Like she's wanting her dogs, then there's there's a bunch of other random stuff, but like they get finished with a drink, and like Thor in the original Thor, when he's like drinking, he slams his glass down and breaks it. Another! Like that's them. Whenever they get through drinking, they literally have shot glasses stacked up like a little pyramid that they'll fill up a shot glass, take a shot of vodka, shatter the shot glass, huzzah! And they'll take another shot. But basically, the way that Catherine the Great actually came to power was due to, and this is a loosely true story, but in reality, it was stuff that happened similar to this, but not in the way that they depict it. But her husband, she married into the royalty. She was supposed to, just like they did. It was like a political marriage kind of deal. It wasn't supposed to be for love or this or that, but she tried to make the best of it. And she didn't do a very good job with it, because Peter was a typical emperor. His feelings were sporadic, and what I feel right this second is the way that I should feel. So there's no commitment to him, because he can't even commit to any policies. He can't commit to anything. He's a horrible emperor. He's a horrible husband. Well, she ends up actually getting enough devotion for the people that the people actually turn on him.
Now, was this before or after the time of like Rasputin and all that?
Way before. Way before.
Okay, because I couldn't remember if you said the time frame.
Yeah, it is. It was based in Russia's history around Catherine the Great. I'm trying to remember what that time frame was. I think it was the 1700s, early 1700s.
Okay.
But
Old Russia.
It was right. It was like pre-American Revolution. Like they have the colonies in America, and all this stuff's talked about sometimes. Like the British colonies, they're having success with those. We need to think about expanding our empire in the same way. All this kind of stuff's being talked about, and then. Hold on, I'm going to take a temporary pause right here to point out the floaty little spider baby that's right in front of Tiny's face. It's going back up. It's dancing right there. You see it right in front of us? Sorry, it's caught my eye, and I hate spiders.
Yep, there it is.
It's just a little baby guy. It's not going to hurt anybody, but if it comes close to me, I'm going to snap it in two.
It is. It looks like it's getting closer to you.
Uh-oh.
Or maybe that's just the
see
weed.
Wakanda forever. All right, I did it.
Dicks out for Harambe.
That's what just happened. I just killed a spider for you, the listeners. The Great is something that is, of course, taking place back in that time of the caste systems, to where they're still in place, to where you're born into nobility or you're born into servitude. Like you've got two options. Like you're either working in the working class, serving the royalty, or you're born into royalty. Same thing happens with another show that I've been watching. And by God, is it not taking the internet and the world by storm? It just so happens, guys, that I have a wife, and I have to watch this show because my wife loves this show, and I couldn't help it. I got into the show, and not only the show, but I steal stuff from the show. Literally every time that I work, I steal stuff from this show. The show is Bridgerton.
Gross.
Oh my gosh.
I don't listen. I've watched Grey's Anatomy for almost I don't know how many freaking years.
Also gross.
Like it's gotta be close to like.
I think there's like 21 seasons now.
Yeah, it's gotta be like an adult human.
Wait, it's still happening?
Yeah. Yeah. Like
Yeah.
the original Greys is no longer on it. Like she has left the show.
Meredith is no longer on the show. But Grey's Anatomy was written by Shonda Rhimes. So was Bridgerton.
What does she rhyme with?
Don't make that joke. She'll fire you. That's what happened to Patrick Dempsey, I think.
I'm not scared. Bring it on, Chandra. I'll rhyme your name with everything.
But it was Bridgerton takes place during the 1800s. It's an alternative London. By alternative London, that means that there's multiple races amongst the aristocracy. That's a good word, by the way.
So they can look past all the racism and other bad stuff of the era?
They can look past the bad stuff of the era and focus on a story solely based on what she's wanting to tell in this alternate world based in the same time frame.
Ah, fun.
So, but basically, all they do in this show, Bridgerton, is in the time of King George and Queen Charlotte, and Queen Charlotte is taking over the rule for King George, but not in a way that's a public she's taken over rule. It's that he's mentally ill and physically sick and dying, and to show a sign that you are weakened like that as a king would basically leave your government ready to be overthrown at any given point.
Okay, so I've seen a couple episodes of this Bridgerton show. I was forced to watch some by an ex of mine, and my impression of the show was people in weird clothes standing and talking, and then sex.
You're right.
That's pretty much it.
Oh, I think
and it
I've
wasn't
seen
even
clips
like
of this.
talking of substance. It was just like, look at what she's wearing. Oh my God, she's with him, but I like him.
It's
and
a little.
then they have sex.
It's a smidge deeper than that, and by this,
That was just my impression. And that was during bouts of awakeness, with lots of sleeping during her binging of it.
I understand. If it wasn't one of those things that I was willing to try, I would have never sampled it. And once I got a sample of it, I realized, like, I know this writing style. I've consumed 19 whole years of you doing this, Shonda. I think I could watch this in the 1800s in England. Let's check it out. And it works for me. It really does work for me. And honestly, I look forward to future nerding out over the next half of the season, because Netflix decided to be giant douche nozzles and also build a little bit of their own fire up, because they released the first half of the season just so people could watch it and then sit around and talk about how much they hate having to wait for the second part of the season. But they did it on purpose. And
Of course they did.
They did it on purpose, and they're fucking clever for it, because I mean,
it's one of those things that it's going to make everyone talk about it, and that's all they're going to talk about.
Netflix came up with, now the next step in Netflix would be a week by week release, the same way that you do on television shows on television, on regulars.
Well, I mean, they've already added like commercials, so at this point, it might as well be cable.
There's an anime my wife and me watching there called Delicious in Dungeon. It's just that things look.
I've heard about that one.
It's so good. Just watch it.
Maybe it's Dungeon Meshi. Is that the?
I don't know. It's Delicious in Dungeons is what it's called on Netflix.
Okay.
But we've watched that on there. That's really good. But it's oh God, I squirreled off because of something. Oh, what was I saying before that?
Netflix released half of it.
Yes, that's what I was going to say.
Numbers.
It's a week by week release of the anime on Netflix that comes out in both English release and Japanese release every week. So that's something you don't typically see. But Netflix is doing that, and Netflix doing the week by week release on that keeps viewership up on those series, because viewership on Netflix prior to the release of stuff like this would have its release date, spike, plateau, drop, small spike, where people were starting to watch it again. It's
We're just reinventing cable.
It's what they're doing. But at the same time, it's kind of okay, because I mean, look what if you've gotten on the internet recently, you've seen Bridgerton memes, you've seen Bridgerton reels, you've seen people reacting to stuff.
I've not seen any of that.
Well, you don't have it in your algorithm, but wait till
Thank
you
God.
wait
I
till,
got enough weird stuff in my
wait
algorithm.
till you have to edit this podcast. Bridgerton.
I'm a Gen Z, so I don't watch reels. I watch TikToks.
So also, I've been getting into stuff. I've been getting into a lot of like skill toys.
Oh, do we need to like turn the lights down low for this one?
No,
or?
it's not. It's not that kind of toy.
Is it my mom's excavator?
It is not your mom's excavator yet.
You need a license to drive it.
Well, I have operated heavy machinery.
Fuzzy, put it in reverse! Fuzzy, put it in reverse!
Beep, beep, beep.
As my dad slowly backs out of the bedroom.
Oh God. No, I'm talking more along the lines of like the non-responsive yo-yo.
He wasn't wearing a shirt.
Yeah, I'm talking about more along the lines of like the non-responsive yo-yo. I want to say it's pronounced beglery. I always mess it up. Like the kendama, those sorts of things. Things that help with like your dexterity and hand-eye coordination. They're actually a lot of fun to play with.
Oh, nice.
And I always have to have something to fiddle with my hands. Otherwise, I tend to break things.
Like the tripod?
Like the tripod.
Literally, you just
Yeah.
twitched 1 centimeter the wrong direction, and Hulk strength broke.
Yeah,
we're on
I
backup
can't help it.
tripod.
It's actually, I don't know why it was backup tripod. It's better tripod.
Yeah, I forgot that it existed.
Yeah. I mean, it's okay. It's not as adjustable, which I think is also better. But anyway, that's inside baseball.
You don't even like baseball.
I don't.
Why would you use that reference if you don't even like
I
baseball?
don't know. But oddly enough, I'm now a cricket fan because, okay.
Oh, I heard.
We
Yeah.
are World Cup champions in the game of cricket.
America?
America is.
Our first go
Hold
at
on.
it.
It's not even just that. It's not even just the fact. Okay. So we're going to talk about this for just a second. Our U.S. cricket team are not like full-time professional athletes. Like they got day jobs, like they're plumbers, they're burger flippers, that sort of thing. They just happen to like this inexplicable game because don't try to read the rules. You won't understand them either.
You'll be like, oh, this looks a lot like baseball.
No.
But not at all.
No.
And then you're watching, you're like, why are they swinging a 2x4 sideways?
Two of them simultaneously. But so they're doing this on their off time because for whatever reason they like this strange game. And this is the first year that they've been invited to go actually play in the world arena for this game. And we won
Because America.
handily because we're America and we're the greatest. We are 2-time World War champions and now cricket world champions.
Yeah, like they invited us, I think, as like, I guess we'll let the Americans
Yeah,
play.
it
And
was.
then we're
I feel like it
okay.
was a pity invite, and then we just mopped the floor with them.
The most American thing. We don't like this sport, and the only reason we like it now is because we beat somebody at it.
Exactly.
And you know how we have stuff that's specifically for Patreon, and we're going to make cuts. I've got something special for Patreon just because.
So, skill toys.
That's actually, I'm just really happy that America has won at cricket, and that's just the first time they let us. Well, sure, we'll invite them to the party, but they won't participate much. They're not. They don't know much.
Yeah,
of
they
the
were
culture.
like they might only make it a round or so.
That reminds me. So earlier last year, I think Le Mans is a 24-hour like endurance race. Like literally, you do not get out of the car. You are racing around the entire
super
time.
Cool.
They invited NASCAR to Le Mans, and everyone's like, "Oh, NASCAR! You know, there's more than left turns." We brought a V8 Camaro with super high displacement. I think it had like a 660 motor in it. And we wiped the floor in our division. We were brought in as we'll let the Americans play. And then we won our division with a V8 muscle car.
All they would need to see is the video of Jeff Gordon whenever he pranked that dude at the car lot and got in the Camaro and did the test drive. And you could see how Jeff Gordon drives whenever he doesn't have to just turn left. If you don't think that a NASCAR driver can drive,
Well,
Yeah,
because,
it's like you got nothing coming, man.
I'm going to bust the song out again just to remind them.
yeah, Le Mans has historically, like, it's kind of moved into, like, turbocharged, like, 4 cylinders, high displacement, 6 cylinders, like, a lot more of that. They've kind of moved away from the big, meaty V8s, and America's like, no, we do this way. I want, like, people were like, yeah, we were trying to get to sleep, but every, like, 12 minutes, a big V8 would come rumbling by the pits, and we couldn't sleep. It's like, yeah, because America, we do big motors that go.
Well, they forget about we have things like the Cannonball Run, where you drive from coast to coast in the best time, like dodging cops and all the things. Like the record's crazy, but that's a whole other story.
Things for fun and goes
Exactly.
fast.
And so you didn't think we could do Le Mans?
Well, not only that, but, like, just because we're making these big, beefy engines doesn't mean they're not efficient. Like, because, I mean, Robert Downey Jr. had an entire special come out on, I think, Disney Plus or HBO. I can't remember. I watched too many services.
Yeah, you can hear more about it on one of the videos that's posted in the $10 tier of Patreon.
But it was he goes and takes, like, these big, beefy muscle cars, and he does, like, electronic conversions to them to give them more fuel efficiency. So he doesn't make all of them, like, full electric vehicles. Yeah. it's insane the kind of power that these things will produce, like 700 horsepower with 40 miles a gallon.
And they do. They're crazy torquey too, because the big thing with like motors, like internal combustion engines, is you have to let the power build. Like as soon as you hit the pedal, you have to hear that like wind up, and then it goes. With an electric motor, it's an on-off switch. So I think one of the first like big cars to do this was the McLaren P1. It was a full hybrid, and you would hit the gas, the electric motor would kick on, and wait until the gas motor had enough torque, kick off, and then during gear changes, the electric motor would kick on and off. So you were always creating power. And Top Gear did a special on it, and they said it was one of the few cars that was scary to drive because it would try to kill you because of how much power it made.
You know, I think that driving one of those cars would take a lot of skill. Almost like those skill toys. What other skill toys you been working with?
You got distracted by America.
Right. Mainly I've been doing the unresponsive yo-yo. So for the Muggle, that's one where you let it go down, and no matter how much you tug it and bounce it, it's not coming back to you.
Like ED.
Yeah, exactly. You have to do what's called a bind, and that actually causes the rope to wind it back up to your hand.
So that's like the competition, like it's going to spin until you physically make it stop spinning. Yo-yos.
Pretty much. I mean, it's for like the longer, more intricate style tricks because it will, just hang out there and keep spinning.
Otto, are you okay?
Are you okay, buddy?
What did you have a giggle to yourself about over there? He's having a real bad giggle to himself.
I kind of wish I knew what it was about.
Oh man, tell me what's happening in that Smurf, Smurf brain.
Oh, you'll usually have to put it in a bind. They have special rings for that to help the blood flow stay in it.
Oh, okay,
well,
I get you.
And, you have to jiggle and go so it keeps going up. But,
so you made the erectile
I got you,
dysfunction joke, and then Tiny said put it in a bind. I see.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay. I get it.
Let's,
I'll probably hear it on the edit and lose my mind. But
probably not. It wasn't that funny, but I found
well,
it fucking hilarious.
So I've been doing a lot with that and the beglery. Don't quote me on that pronouncing. Like I said, I mess that one up a lot.
You got arrested for that, right?
No, well, that was burglary, but that's a story for another time.
Oh, sorry.
It's essentially a piece of string that's weighted on both ends, and you kind of like flip it through your hands in all these different intricate ways, and it's actually really cool.
Have you ever thought about a fidget spinner?
Yeah, but that just spins and you hold it. I do have one of those, and that's not as much fun.
I kind of miss them.
Well, it's like when I was in school, I'd always have like a pen or something or a pencil, and I'd be messing with it doing stuff, and I'd end up breaking it and getting like the ink everywhere, or no longer having a pencil and have to borrow a pencil, which was always a shitty wooden pencil. So it gives me something to do with my hands when I have nothing else to do. I don't know if I've got the ADHD or something. I've never been diagnosed, but maybe that's why. But it gives me something to do that it's more constructive and less destructive. Plus, it helps coordination and,
Stuff.
Still, it helps with several things.
Coordination.
It is.
It also helps with your concentration because if you're focusing on something, but your hands can do a little fiddling here and there, It also leaves your testicles a lot safer too, so you're not having to scratch them to death because it just happens whenever you just got nothing else to do. You just reach for them.
Yeah. So one of the things I've been unwillingly nerding out on, because thanks to your wife, my wife is into Dance Moms.
No, that's just child abuse
I
on
hate
TV.
it. I hate it. It's so bad. They're all terrible people. They all make their own problems. But by God, I have so many opinions on these women. We're on season 2 right now, and so whenever we're at the Strip Mall studio recording, my wife will go hang out with Trudy. And Trudy will turn on Dance Moms. And now every time that I'm doing something, Kylie's like, hey, we're going to turn on Dance Moms. And I just watch it. These women have beef with 9-year-olds for no fucking reason.
They do.
Well, first of all, it's a child. You shouldn't have beef with a child as an adult.
Exactly.
I mean, unless they hit you in the naughty bits.
But
then I'll beef with the child over that.
And then like these moms will be like just the worst to each other. Like we're on season 2 right now, and Peyton's mom, Oh, I can't remember.
It doesn't matter names. It doesn't
like
disposition
they
fits them all.
do not like this woman, and they're like, this other mom's like, oh, I'm gonna have a birthday party, invite him over. She invited this woman over to her house, and the second she got in there, and I know this is all reality TV, probably.
Sorry.
That was just letting you know it was reality TV.
Yeah, probably reality TV, probably fake, probably scripted, played up. But the second this woman walks in, they just start harassing this mom. It's like, yeah, I don't like her either. I think she's stuck up in all this stuff. But damn, like, no wonder she doesn't like you people. The second she walked into the house that she was invited to, you started harassing her and flipping her off.
Yeah, that the whole show's premise is just how much trauma can one child take? Let's watch.
Oh, I feel so bad. Because, like, some of these girls are, like, really good dancers, and they have talent. But, like, they just keep getting torn down. And, like, these moms would be like, well, why did my daughter get a solo, but your daughter why did my daughter not get a solo, but your daughter got a solo? Oh, you got in the trio, but I didn't get in the trio. And I'm like, shut the French up, Kathy. Your daughter's bad at dancing. That's why she didn't get in.
Yeah, it makes you get into these an irrational state of mind while you're watching it, because rationally speaking, I'm sitting there and I'm saying this is child abuse. Everything that you're doing, all these expectations, all these hopes you're forcing on your child isn't something your child's wanting as much as you're wanting, but yet you have to drive them to do this. Drive, do it. And then you look later on and, like, you know, a lot of them have done some things in their life. One of them most notably, there was this thing that came out here recently where Abby was actually chewing out a mom for not treating her daughter the right way.
I hate when they make me agree with Abby.
Yeah,
because Abby's a terrible person.
And Abby is a terrible person, but occasionally she has a little bit of shining light that comes through in her bullshit. But she said, stop treating your daughter like she can do no wrong and she's the most talented person in the room. If she grows up this way and thinks that she is the most talented one in the room, she's going to get out in life in the real world and she's going to embarrass herself. She's going to think she's better than what she is, and she is going to just make a fool of herself. Karma's a bitch. I should have known better. JoJo Siwa is who she was talking about.
Oh, my God.
And
that trash fire that's going on.
The trash fire that is happening right now. Yeah, Abby called it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Abby straight up called it. Sorry, Tiny. I know you don't care about this at all. I'm sorry that
that's okay. I mean, you're allowed to share what you're into, too.
I'm not into it, though.
We're not.
I'm upset that I'm this emotional about a reality TV show about children being abused.
I mean, I lived child abuse, so I don't watch child abuse.
Yeah, it's not as much like child abuse like bound to the whipping post child abuse. It's more or less like, you said you wanted this. Now you're going to have to do everything all the time to get it.
I mean, look, child abuse is child abuse.
And then, like, tearing these poor girls down. Like, they'll do an amazing performance, and then it's just, well, you did this thing wrong. It's like, you got second place. You should have been getting first place because you messed this one thing. And it's like, they still did good. Praise your children, damn it.
Okay, before we get off this subject of the
this anime that you're watching?
Of Dance Moms, have you gotten into the drama on there yet with any of the Candy Apple Dance Studio?
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. It's the most one-sided beef of all. Because literally, this woman came to Abby Lee's dance studio, stirred shit, and then left. And then is like, I'm going to take Abby down. Abby doesn't give a fuck. And it's like, why? Why? You started this. You started this. You have beaten her once. And she has beaten your ass every single time. And it's like, oh, my God.
See,
oh
Tiny.
That damn Carol Baskin.
You know,
fucking Kathy. Fuck Kathy. Fuck Jill. Oh, my God. They're terrible.
So, I knew that would set him off.
I hate it. I hate it.
The problem is, though, is also the good thing about what I was talking about that with this is it sparks the same emotion from most people that watch it and have watched it, and I've watched it passively, not like ingested it, like sat and watched it and paid attention. Like, it's been on the TV while I've been playing disc golf on my phone. And I'll catch myself watching it. Dane was the same way whenever Dane lived with me. Carly and Trudy would watch it, and they would be glued to the television, and then Dane and me would have our little snippy shit that we would say about child abuse, like, I can't believe you guys enjoy this. And then it's the same dynamic between people that watch it. You're going to have the people that are just glued to it, like, what's going to happen next? And you're going to have the people like me and Dane that know a little bit about the show just because we've sat there and, like, tried to pick it apart. So, I don't... Yeah, for those of you that do listen and have watched Dance Moms, chime in. Get on that Discord and let us know, because I think that'd be funny to get your reactions to. You never thought you'd see the day that Dance Moms would make an appearance.
It's trash television. It is the like store brand Lay's potato chips of television, but I can't get enough of it. I hate it.
There is something that I was looking forward to coming out, and I watched a snippet of the first episode because I wasn't in the mode of, like, the mindset to be able to actually focus on something happening, but I wanted to see what the show was like because I was like, okay, I'm going to watch this with Trudy. The Acolyte.
I just somehow knew that's where you were going.
The Acolyte. It was... I can't spoil things for people because it is new. I'm not going to quite give it the hot, stinking fecal garbage because I've not watched it enough in depth to be able to relate, correlate those two things together. I can't tell you that it's hot, stinking fecal garbage, but
look,
man,
the report that I've gotten from the Couch Gnome, the Couch Gnome said it was pretty great, but then again, the Couch Gnome also likes to go eat food at a place that's known to kill you.
Yeah?
Due to being unclean.
I don't know if I could take the Couch Gnome's...
I wouldn't take the Couch Gnome's advice because he lives on a ham couch. I've reached inside the couch to find the remote before when the Couch Gnome had disappeared for fishing and found a piece of ham. A whole piece.
Oh, my God.
Not a little piece.
No, and he was
eating
eating
it was hard enough to cut skin.
He was eating that carved ham the other day. So that was probably what it was, a big old hunk of that carved ham.
This was a while ago. This was probably 3 iterations of the ham couch ago because every now and then it gets de-hammed and vacuumed.
You want to know something funny about the Couch Gnome? You want to know one of the biggest beefs that the Red Angry guy has with him?
Big Red Angie.
Big Red Angie. Big Red Angie left some smoked ham that he had made in the fridge, and the Couch Gnome ate all of his ham.
Yeah,
and I came into the shop just to grab a few provisions, and he's like, you know what that damn Couch Gnome did?
Well, look, he's also convinced that the Couch Gnome ate his sausage for breakfast, and he was like, I'm just concerned that he ate it raw, because it was raw, and it's gone.
He just
because I've never seen the Couch Gnome prepare things with his hands. It's always prepackaged or brought to him in a bag
like
of some sort.
In a pre-prepared fashion.
Yes, so I don't think the Couch Gnome knows how to prepare things.
Oh
my gosh.
Couch
ham.
Ham.
Yeah,
Couch ham.
You don't touch the ham couch. You know the one.
I think I do know the one.
The ham couch is my dog's favorite place to be.
I wonder why. It's just laden with secret ham.
She goes over there and gets on the blanket that's on the ham couch, and dogs love gross shit. That's just what dogs do.
Yeah.
And you know that the blanket on the ham couch has got to be gross because it's got remnants of ham juice that's been on there. And
From the Couch Gnome.
From the Couch Gnome. So Millie goes over to the couch, and she goes and jumps up on the blanket that has the leftover ham juice on it, and she just rolling on it. Just roll. I'm like, that's got to be the nastiest blanket we'll ever find for her to love it that much.
I also found chewed gum in the ham couch the other day looking for the book.
Stop looking for stuff in the ham couch.
I needed the book so I could write down provisions to order.
You'll never find what you were looking for.
You find so much of everything else.
I had to reach into the ham couch on the opposite side of the ham couch to grab a remote control, and I found 3 half bottles of royalty too.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a vape liquid brand.
And you'll also find like half a thing of Tums.
Oh, yeah. That Tums better stay there, though, because I'm not bringing my own to the shop. Just sometimes I need to snag a couple out of the community.
Well, Big Red Angie, he pops them like Skittles sometimes.
He does.
Him, as angry as the Big Red Angie is, I understand why, because he is just acid brewing on the inside.
The inside of him is just acid. And, I mean, honestly, too,
I
I would
mean-
hate to ever get punched by him because his bones got to be strong AF.
Dude.
All the calcium inside of those Tums, he'd be just peddling in
Well-
his mouth all day like Tic Tacs.
Well, not only that, have you seen how ripply his hands are? Like from the advertising that he did for one of our, potted plants.
Yes.
Like
Our
I
legal
was,
hemp.
I was like, whose wrinkly claw is that?
That's
And
what
they're like, that's the Big Red Angies.
that's what a hand looks like from getting dehydrated from having so much dusty
So
Tums on it all day long.
That's also from the anchor just burning off the moisture. Because I've never seen him take a drink of anything.
I actually have seen him drink things, but the only thing I've ever seen him drink is something that doesn't hydrate you, and that's that fizzy water stuff that Walmart makes that's like flavored and has the artificial sweeteners and stuff in it.
Yeah.
Oh, the
Ugh.
dry water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
How do you make
That
a
might
liquid
be
dry?
why he's so angry, because he's just so desperate for moisture.
Just if he would take a few of those flavored waters that are, flavored with all the artificial stuff and more sodium than a person needs in a 0-calorie beverage, then he could probably get more hydrated and not have to put so much lotion on the skin on the ham couch.
Yeah.
I had a sense I should never. Every time I go, I knew I never needed to sit on that couch.
That couch
Don't.
that couch literally it puts off the aura of don't sit on me, this isn't yours.
like it's brown, but not in like a healthy brown.
It makes me think of a dog that's been kicked one too many times, and now it's terrified of any human being.
Like it doesn't want human contact, but somebody just has to force themselves on it just because they can't help it. Like, and that's what Big Red Angie and the Couch Gnome do every day.
Yeah.
It's their spot. Now Couch Gnome's spot on the couch has got it took his butt from him.
He's all whole and no flap.
He's,
It's concave.
instead of getting into the lore of the people that we know and how little their booty cheeks be. I mean, worse than Hank Hill. Worse. Poor Hank had a donk in comparison.
The couch gnome tried to tell me. He tried to. He had just picked up a new cordless hole puncher. And I was like, bro, you need a better belt than that if you're going to carry one of those. He's like, why? I'm like, I could see, like, everything that you got going on.
Like,
He's
you
like-
saw food that wasn't even digested
Yeah,
yet.
yeah, I'm like,
you got
how-
to pierce so deep.
Yeah, I was like, how did you get a pork rind there? And,
I'm not a pork rind, that's skin tag.
yeah. And I was like, yeah. He said something like, well, my belt usually hangs to, where my booty is and keeps my pants up. I said, whatever booty you got, you need to give it back because we both know you don't have one.
It's defective. It's deflated. Something happened. Somebody took the air out your balloon. You're never going to make it around the world in that thing. Oh, man. So say you are at Vape Sack Prime and somebody reaches their hand out to you and has 3 wonderful looking grapes in their hand. Tiny, what would you do if all 3 of those fell onto the ham couch?
I definitely wouldn't eat them. They would just lay there and just rot. They would be there for all eternity.
You let him raisin.
Until sometime next year, whenever you reach into the couch to pull out something that you dropped, and you find 3 raisins, because that's where they stay. Once they go, they remain. The couch will maintain the stasis of the food.
The couch giveth and the couch taketh away.
I really don't want to touch that couch now.